Hi everyone, and thank you for joining our Sassie 101 webinar today. Our speaker is Carey Medina, and she is the Senior Vice President of Operations with the iShopFor Ipsos team. She's going to give us a full walkthrough of our Sassie platform and answer some questions that were submitted through the registration process.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you everybody for joining. Again, my name is Carey Medina, and I run the field operations team here at iShopFor Ipsos. Tonight's topic is Sassie. Sassie is one of our 3 data collection platforms that we use here at iShopFor Ipsos to collect mystery shopping data. So Sassie is in the same family as another platform that we frequently use, which is called Presto. They're actually part of the same company, but one of the key features of the Sassie platform is that it is mostly self-service from the perspective of a mystery shopper. Before we get started, I do want to just deal with maybe what might be the elephant in the room, and that is, why do we use so many platforms? And the answer might surprise you. Most people think that we use a lot of platforms because that's what our clients want. Everybody has a unique requirement, things that they want to see, things that they want to be able to leverage on our platforms, and every platform has different features. So that is a key driver for why we offer different options for them. We are considered platform agnostic, so we use the best tool for our clients. When our clients don't necessarily have a preference, we then use the best tool for collecting data for our mystery shoppers. So ease of access, self-service, all these types of things come into play when we make the decision. But we do play in 3 very different spaces. So understanding what those are is going to be critical when you're partnering with iShopFor Ipsos. Tonight's agenda will focus on Sassie. We're going to walk through how to set up your account. So if you already mystery shop with us or you're brand new, you'll need to have an account with Sassie. Once we do that, I'm going to show you around inside your shopper profile and all the things that you can do when you're in your Sassie account. I'll show you how to pick up a mystery shopping assignment or a gig and how to submit it. And then we're going to go through some of the questions that you graciously submitted before the webinar so that we can get you some answers. But to start off, we'll go ahead and start with setting up your account. So as with most of the shops that you will complete with iShopFor Ipsos, you're going to start by logging into iShopForIpsos.com. This is the main hub where most of our work begins, okay? There are 2 places that you can sign up. There is Sassie and ShopMetrics. One of the key differences is that Sassie doesn't have a mobile app, but the site is mobile friendly, so you can actually log into the website from your desktop computer. So visit iShopForIpsos.com, and then you're going to want to create an account. In order to do that, you'll click register, and then you will click on the teal box that's on that registration page, and it will say to register for Sassie. Once you do that, there's going to be a couple of quick questions. You'll need to select your language, and you'll need to enter your email address and the country that you will be working from, and then you'll click go, and it will start that sign up process for you. Before you can begin, you do have to set up your shopper profile. This is going to be the first thing that you see, and what we collect here is some pretty basic information. Your name, your address, your phone number, your birth date, so we know who you are. We will collect your PayPal email address. So when you sign up with us, you want to make sure that you're signing up with an email address that you use to receive PayPal payments, because that's the only way we pay. So we want to make sure that that matches from the very beginning, so there's no delay in your payments. We're going to ask you for a tax ID. Most of the time, this will be your Social Security number, but if you have set up a small business for your mystery shopping side hustle and you have an LLC or a tax identification number, you can leverage that here as well and sign up using that number. And then there's going to be a couple of agreements that we'll talk about in a minute that you will want to read through and agree to before you can get started. So there might be a couple of elephants in the room now that I think about it, because this is a question that we get asked all of the time. Why do you need my tax ID? And the reason is for tax purposes, right? So any independent contractor, which is you, that makes more than $600 partnering with iShopFor Ipsos in a calendar year per platform. So if you make a lot in Sassie, if you make $600, we will send you a 1099 for the work that you do in Sassie. If you make $600 for the work that you do in ShopMetrics, we will send you another one for that space. So we have to make sure that we have your appropriate tax information on file so that at the end of the year, we can send you that tax documentation. Some people do try to avoid this and they try to create multiple accounts and they try to get around entering the appropriate data. This is a big no-no and would be considered fraudulent. So we definitely want to make sure that you're avoiding that. And then just for a little bit of peace of mind, only you can view this information. We cannot see it. It is in a secure space that is only accessed by you. So it is completely used for tax purposes and not visible to anyone else on the Ipsos staff. Getting back to the two agreements that you will have to sign when you set up your profile. The first one is a platform and Ipsos privacy policies agreement. All this is saying, like, I'm paraphrasing here, make sure you read the entire thing, but what this is telling you to do is just agree and indicate that you understand that Ipsos is not selling your data. We don't share your information. Everything we collect from you is kept secure, right down to all of the information that you provide about yourself. And we just want to make sure that you understand what our policies are around protecting your information. The second agreement is your independent contractor agreement. This is something that is really, really critical. As a mystery shopper, anything you work on with the iShopFor Ipsos team is to remain confidential. Sharing information about the programs that you're working on or the brands and the surveys that you complete for us without our permission does violate this agreement and could result in you being removed from the partnership. But once you've gone through and you've set up all of your profile and you've answered those questions, at the very bottom, it's going to say sign me up. And then you're in. At this point, this is what your screen is going to look like. It'll just have all of the information that you filled out, and you are ready to begin exploring Sassie. One quick call out I want to make for you here is this space here where it says SSN/tax ID. This has to be verified. This is a question that we get all of the time, but we do send your social security number or your tax identification number through a confirmation process with the IRS. We have no control over how long it takes for it to be verified. It can be the same day. It can also be 2 weeks away. So when you first sign up, it's going to show pending right there on that screen. When it is verified, that will change and you will be able to pick up work. Until that happens, you are unable to pick up any work with iShopFor Ipsos in our Sassie platform. Okay, moving on, let's kind of take a look around at what it's going to look like for you on the Sassie platform as a mystery shopper. So at any given time, when you log in, there are going to be tabs at the very top of your screen, and you'll always be able to see these and kind of bounce between them. So we have the shop log, and that is where you can see a list of any of your current shop assignments, shops that we have given to you or that you have selected and committed to completing. There's a My Profile tab, and this is your shopper profile information. So if you need to make changes, that's where you're going to go. There's a My Apps tab at the top, and this is for any active applications that you have with us, and I'll review that with you in just a minute. And then there's the job board. This is where you search for mystery shopping opportunities in your area or wherever you might be traveling. So I want to break them down a little bit just to help you better understand what you can do on each of these pages. So we'll start right where we left off, right? This is your profile. These are the questions you just answered, but here are some things that you want to understand when you're looking at this page. So the status is what your status is as a general rule with iShopFor Ipsos. It's either going to be active or deactivated. That's it. If it's active, you're good to go and you can complete shops. If it's deactivated and you didn't do it, that means there's going to be some sort of an issue and you want to reach out to us to try to problem solve for that. If it's deactivated, you won't be able to complete any work. There's the next line down says get shop offer emails. So when you do first sign up, there is an email that is sent to you, and you want to make sure that you're clicking on that to verify your email address. And then you can go ahead and set your notification options. Do you want to receive emails or not? The next is the tax ID. We've already talked about that. It will show pending at first, but then it will show verified at some point, and it is at that point you can pick up work. There's an address verification line. You do want to make sure that you click that update link so that you confirm your address on the map. That will be helpful when we get to the job board page. And then at the very bottom, there is an option for you to delete your account. This is permanent. If you decide you need to take a break from shopping with iShopFor Ipsos, we highly recommend that you go in and self-deactivate your account. That just puts you on pause, but it doesn't delete all of your information or your history. Deleting your account is permanent. We cannot get it back for you. It is your right and your option, so it's there, but please use caution. There are two other things that I want to flag on this page. There is a little line that asks you about your MSPA certification. This has to do with the Mystery Shopping Providers Association and whether or not you are registered. That is going to be leaving shortly, so I'm not going to cover what that means or why you need it. And then the other thing on this page is it's an extended shopper profile. This asks a bunch of voluntary questions about you and your lifestyle and your car and different things like that that open up other opportunities for you. This is also going to be removed, but because we collect all of this information on our shop metrics page, and we only want you to fill it in one time. Okay. Moving to the job board, we're going to get a little bit more granular on this page in a few minutes when we talk about getting a gig, but just so that we can understand kind of a quick tour of what it looks like, when you hit that tab at the top that says job board, your screen will look like this. At the very top, it gives you filter options. So you'll see that one of these options is to select a certain mile radius from my home. You remember how we verified your address on your profile page? That helps us pinpoint you on this map so that we can show you what's around your home. So that's why it's really important to do. But you can filter a certain mile radius that you're willing to travel. You can also enter any address in here. So if you are in a different state or visiting relatives, you can look to see what mystery shops are available. The next, dark gray / black bar, it says web and phone shops. These are work from home gigs. They won't be available for everyone. They might be available in your area or not, but you can just kind of pop that, click the little arrow on the right, and it'll pop that list open so that you can see what is available around you. Then we have the standard shops. So you can see this on a map view with the pins on the map, or you can see them in a list view. These shops typically require you to go out to a brick and mortar store and conduct a mystery shop. When you get down to that list view, you're going to see from and to, and it's all the way to the left-hand side. This is the date range that we currently have set where you could pick up that potential shopping assignment and complete it. Once you decide that you want to do that, we're going to ask you to actually pick a date, but that's the current date range. You can also see the fees here, so that's what we're paying for the shop. If there is a reimbursement, that will be listed here as well. And then there is one example on this page where we are offering a small bonus. You will see that listed right here as well. Toward the right before you see that self-assign, you're going to see the word more. If you click that, it's going to show you a super high level description of what the shop involves. It's not very detailed, and the reason for that is we want to make sure that we don't have competitors coming in and looking to see what shops are available before they actually commit to those shops. So you're just going to see a little description here, but the meat and potatoes of the mystery shopping assignment will be in the shopper guidelines. If you see a shop that you want on this page, you can click self-assign, and that's all the way to the right. Most of our assignments in Sassie are self-assigned. If you see the word apply there, that's going to create a little bit of a pause because we have to manually reach out to you and then let you know that you have been granted that shop, but it doesn't happen too often on our Sassie platform. If you do happen to apply, I just want to show you what that screen looks like. It's going to take you to this page and it's going to provide a status for you. So that's down at the bottom. It does show that we don't have any, this particular example doesn't have any applications, but if you did and it said pending, that means we haven't decided who's going to get it yet. If your status is pending, if it says assigned to you, that means we have given it to you. You can go on the date that you said that you were going to go and complete that assignment. Please don't do that unless it says assigned to you. If you're applying, you do have to wait for that confirmation. Okay. If you click on a shop and it says self-assign, you're going to skip this page, right? It doesn't happen very often, but I do want to make sure that you see it just in case you see it in real life. Okay. Once you click self-assign, right, you will find your shop in your shop log. Okay. This is where you can find any shops that you are currently assigned to and any shops that you've done in the past. It kind of keeps a tally. So here's how to read this page. It's going to look very similar to this. Up at the top, it says ID, right? You're going to see this referenced a lot with the iShopFor Ipsos team. Sometimes we'll call it a shop ID. Sometimes we'll call it an evaluation ID. But this is the unique number that is associated with that very specific shopping assignment. So if someone ever asks for it, this is where to find it. There is also a paid on date for shops that you've completed in the past. If you want to see if you got paid, it will be reflected here, and that's over to the right. The total that you see here is actually what we paid you or will be paying you, including any reimbursement that was associated with that shop. At the very bottom, you're going to see the job rating. So this is your shopper rating for that very particular shop. So every shop you complete for us, when it goes through our quality control process, you're going to receive a rating between 0 and 10. Your rating will be reflected here along with any reviewer comments from our quality control team with any feedback they have, or just simply thanking you for your shop and providing your rating. And then status, this is something we're going to talk about kind of toward the end of the webinar, but when we do, this is where you see it. So in this example, you can see the word finalized here. That is the current status of that very particular assignment. So you can always kind of log in here and kind of check to see where all of your assignments are and what status they're in at that time. Okay, so those are the 4 tabs that you're going to see anytime you log into Sassie, but I want to take it a step further and walk through actually picking up a shopping assignment. So to do that, we need to go back to the job board. So you would click that tab at the top of your page, and it's going to take you to this map and this list with the filter at the very top. So from the list view, you can actually sort by distance, you can sort by due date, and you can sort by project. So if there's a project that you're looking for, you can kind of sort in alphabetical order and then be able to find it a little bit faster. With any of these, if you click that more button, you will be able to see a bit more of a description for that shop. It's not all of the instructions, but it's a high level overview. Okay. The to and from dates that we talked about previously, those are going to be the date ranges that you can complete your shopping assignment. You will be prompted to pick a very specific date, but that's the window that you can currently complete them in, nothing else. And that includes the first date. So the start date and the end date, that's the window you have. And then from here, if once you find one, most of the time you're going to click self-assign, but if it's a shop that you want and it says apply, you can then go through that process. Okay, since self-assign is a little bit more common, that's the example that we're going to show here. When you do click self-assign, it's going to show you a calendar, and you're going to pick the shop date that you plan to go visit that location and complete that shop. You can pick any date that is highlighted on the calendar. If it's not highlighted, that means it's not available. It might still be within that shopping window, but we could have other rules associated with it where certain shoppers can go on one day and not on another. So there are a lot of reasons why different dates will be blacked out. You have to pick one that is highlighted, okay? Once you click to be instantly assigned, the shop will now appear on your shop log. So it's going to say, it's going to give you a confirmation. You'll actually get an email that confirms that it's assigned, and now you can find it on your shop log. So from here, you would then go back to your shop log. You would find the shop that you just self-assigned, and then all the way to the right, it's going to say View Submit. When you do that, it's going to open up your shop and allow you to read the full set of shopper guidelines before you go conduct the visit. Typically, it's in a little green box, and there will be a link that says click here for shopper guidelines. You want to make sure that you do this before you go. Even if you do these all the time, you should check them every single time, but that's where you'll find it. If the particular program that you are working on has a certification, you will also see a little note right below the shopper guidelines that will prompt you to click for access to the required quiz. You can use and should use the shopper guidelines to pass this quiz. It is an open book test, but you do want to make sure that you've read the guidelines because all of the answers will be in there. Not every program requires a certification or a quiz, but if it does, you want to make sure you're doing this before you go. I do also want to call out in Sassie, you have to turn off your pop-up blockers because when you click the link to open that quiz, it pops up in a different window. By default, the Sassie platform blocks those. So you'll need to go through the steps to turn your pop-up blockers off. If you don't, it's actually going to take you to like our quiz and testing center, and your particular quiz may or may not be listed on there, and it might be a little bit confusing for you. So if that happens, just know that your pop-up blockers have not been turned off and you want to go fix that. When you've selected a date for your shop and you're good to go and now it's in your shop log, it is possible for you to change your date on your own. So from your shop log, when you look at that particular shop, you can see the start date and the due date. And then in parentheses, it's going to say change date, okay? It's not for every program. Some programs don't allow it. If it's allowed on a program, you will see it. And for the most part, you can change your date one time. Some programs allow it more than once, but as a general rule, you can make a change one time. The key thing to note here is you can't change your due date on the date that you're assigned to go. So if I'm assigned to go to do a shop today and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't have time, I want to do it tomorrow, I won't be able to go in to change it. I will then need to contact the mystery shopping team at mystery.shopping@ipsos.com to either reschedule or cancel. But it is self-service, and you can go in and make an update on your own at least one time for most programs. Okay, so that is in a nutshell how to go through and pick up a shop. If you are on this webinar and you are new to mystery shopping, we also have a really cool webinar that's called Mystery Shopping 101, and that's like industry best practices on what you should do and what you shouldn't do when you're in the field. That one was run by someone on my team named Diana Payon. It's a great watch, so you can go ahead and kind of click on that QR code if you're interested in learning a little bit more just about the mystery shopping industry. It's like a pause for a commercial break, and we're going to get right back to it. So once you've done gotten a shop assigned to you, you've taken the certification, you are out in the field, you're done. Now it's time to come back to Sassie and submit it. So this is something that you have to do by midnight on the day of your shop. It has to be done. If that doesn't happen, your shop is actually going to fall off your count automatically and go back on the board for other shoppers. So please make sure you're planning accordingly. You can fill out your survey right from your phone either right after your shop or even during your shop in some cases, depending on where you are, by using your mobile web browser, visiting iShopForIpsos.com and logging into your Sassie account. The surveys are mobile friendly. You should be able to do it without any issue. One call out when submitting your survey is save it often. I think it times out like every 30 minutes. So anytime it pops in your head, ooh, should I save my survey? You should. Absolutely save it often and go back in and then keep going just so you don't lose your work. It can be really frustrating when that happens. Okay, so keeping in mind that we're talking about how to navigate Sassie and what to do and where your shop is and following that journey. Once you've submitted your assignment, whether it's on your mobile device or at home at your desktop, now what? What happens now? So every single report is reviewed by a human being on our quality control team. It will either be someone with an iShopFor Ipsos email, just an Ipsos email like ipsos.com, or our vendor partner, Wordsmith Pros. It will have an email address that ends in wordsmithpros.com. You will likely get an email from them either doing one of two things, letting you know, hey, it's been processed and you're good to go. Here's your rating. Or, hey, we have questions, right? I need a clarification. I don't have the right picture. Can you send me a better copy of the receipt? You need to watch your email for these, because if we do have a question that we need to get an answer on, it is timely, right? So if we don't get an answer, we might end up having to reject your shop and putting it back out for other shoppers. So make sure you're watching for that. If you do get a question sent back to you, do not just reply to that email. We have moved that mystery shop back into your shopper account. You have to go back in, make those changes, and resubmit it. That's how you handle it. Don't just reply to the email when you receive it. There will be a link to your shop to log in, and you have to go through and process it that way and resubmit it. Once your shop is completely approved and you get that confirmation email from us, your payment will be processed in 7 to 10 days via PayPal. Okay. We're also going to email you a rating. This will come from our quality controls team when we confirm that we have accepted your report. We do have a short video on how these ratings work, how you can earn them, what they mean, how you can increase your rating, all that sort of thing. And that's our shopper ratings video. And there's a QR code here for you for convenience. Okay, remember how we talked in the beginning about the status on your shop log and what that means? I kind of want to just take a quick pause and talk about that so you know what each one of them actually mean so that you can better understand where your shops are in the process. So if next to a shop assignment that you've selected, you happen to see the word new in that top box, that means you're currently assigned to that shop. You have to go do it, but you haven't started it. That's what new means. Incomplete can mean one of two things. You haven't done it yet, but you opened up the shop and you looked at the survey, which I highly recommend, and maybe you started to fill in some of the information at the top, or you just kind of read through it so that you can make sure that you have you're ready to go answer all those questions, and then you save it. If you do that before you submit, it's going to show as incomplete on your shop log. And if an editor or someone on our quality control team sends your report back to you because they need clarification, it will also show as incomplete. So it's two options there. If it shows completed, that means it's in our quality control team's hands and it's waiting to be reviewed by someone on that team. If it's in reviewed status, it's not quite ready, it's not quite done. It's likely going through a secondary quality control check before we send it off to our client. If it is in finalized or client finalized, that means it is accepted and it's ready for payment. So now it's entered into the line for being processed for payment. If it is not in finalized or client finalized status, it will not be paid. So just kind of know that's the status it does need to be in order to get on that list to get paid. If it happens to say excluded, that means for some reason or another, that shop may not be eligible to be paid. Most of the time, that's what it means. There was an error, or maybe you didn't respond, and so we couldn't take that shop, and we've put the shops out on the board. Sometimes, not often, we will exclude a report from sending it to our client, but still pay you. So just make sure that you look at what the paid information is when you see excluded, and don't just react to that word. Dig into it a little bit more, because sometimes if there's a certain circumstance, we do still pay our shoppers on an excluded shop. Okay, that was so much information. So I hope everybody was able to keep up, but I do just kind of want to recap what we covered. So we spent a lot of time on the job board, and that's where you can search for and apply for all of the mystery shops that are available in Sassie. If you had to apply, there is that My Apps page that kind of helps you understand where you are and what your status is with that application, so you can check that at your convenience. We also talked about finding any active jobs in your shop log, just so that you know what you have and you can stay organized, as well as ones that have been processed and you've submitted, so that you know where you are with the process of receiving payment. We talked about finding the shopper guidelines and finding any certifications by hitting that view submit from your shop log. You want to make sure that you're reviewing those before you conduct your mystery shop. Don't forget that in Sassie, you can fill out your survey on the go from your mobile web browser, or back at home on your desktop or your laptop computer. You want to make sure that you're saving your work often in Sassie. It does time out about every 30 minutes. So every 10 minutes or so, just click save and then keep going. Make sure that you're watching for any emails from our quality control team that is looking for more information, so that you're fielding those in a timely manner and we can get your shop processed and paid. Then you can always log in and check that shop log just to understand where you are with the payment status. If you want to see how much money you made in any given month or period of time, you can look at that as well. It's right there for you, so that you don't have to reach out to us and ask questions. It's all right there in your shop log for you to review at your convenience. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and shift to answering some of the questions that you've submitted. So we'll start with the first one. After I accept a shop, how do I access it again? So when you log into Sassie, you're immediately going to see your shop log. All of your assigned shops are going to be listed right down that page. How do I determine if I've gotten paid for a shop? So one of the things we didn't talk about is that you can actually, in your shop log, use a filter. So you'll see it here. There's a screenshot here. You can change your filter to finished shops. That means they're done and dusted, and you're good to go. Every shop that you have completed that has an amount paid will be on this list, and you can just kind of see them all in one shot. How can I cancel a shop I no longer want or cannot complete? So, couple of things here. By and large, there's a lot of automation that happens in Sassie. So if your shop is due in the next couple of days and you can't go, it's going to fall off your account automatically at midnight on the day of your shop. So if you pick July 15th and you don't go on July 15th at midnight, it falls off and it goes back on the job board for everybody else. This is an automated process, so there is no need to cancel. If, however, you have scheduled it weeks in advance and you know it's going to be a couple of weeks before it falls off your account, at that point, you should send an email to the mystery.shopping@ipsos.com email address, and someone from the field operations team will remove that for you. Would you suggest having one dedicated shopper email? Yes, we definitely recommend that. It helps with your organization. It helps keep personal emails and shopper emails separated. You can organize your inbox because you will tend to, depending on how many mystery shopping companies you work for, get a lot of emails from us. But no matter what happens, make sure that whatever email you use with Ipsos is linked to your PayPal account, so there's no delay in processing those payments. What are mystery shopping companies looking for when they ask for a writing example? This is a great question, and it will vary by mystery shopping company, but in general, we're looking for complete sentences, correct spelling and grammar, with details of your experience. I will take that one step further and say, answer the exact question. Your narratives should be facts, they should not be your opinions, and they should only relate to that very specific experience. So if you have feelings or opinions about a particular brand that you're mystery shopping, that should never make its way into your narrative. Stick to the facts. Don't add any flair or any pizzazz to it. We just want to know the facts unless we very specifically ask you how you felt. We don't necessarily want to know that. Right? If we ask you how you feel, then feel free to share that. If we don't, just stick to the straight facts. Can I export or download a list of my Sassie jobs to help with routing? That would be fantastic. Unfortunately, that is not an option for Sassie. But the job board map does let you see available shops in your area. It is still pretty manual. That would be a really great tool, and frankly is a good suggestion for us to pass on to that Sassie provider. What if employees refuse to let me take a picture? So for the most part, photos are taken without employees even knowing. So you're just always going to act natural, like you're taking a selfie or like you're texting. It's so common these days that you can do that without being noticed. You want to make sure that if you have a camera that has a shutter sound or a flash, make sure that those are off. If by chance you have a shop where it's required for you to reveal and ask the employee for a photo and they refuse, for iShopFor Ipsos, that is something that is okay. We give you instructions in our guidelines on what to do in those cases. Most of the time it will be to like take a picture of the counter or something like that that is in the space where the employee is, but to honor that request and not take their photo. Where can I find training materials to help me with shops? So all of our shopper guidelines are linked at the top of every shop evaluation form. We walked through that here so that you know where to see them. It's very similar in all of our platforms, but for the most part, you won't be able to see it until you've either applied and been granted that shop or you've self-assigned and have that shop assigned to you. And again, the reason for that is we do want to make sure that we're keeping it as confidential as possible. So we want to make sure that you're committing to the shop assignment before we show it to you. You can always cancel at that point, but it does help us prevent a little bit of competitive intel when it comes to other people in our platform, in our mystery shopping platform. How can I find higher paying assignments? Well, this is the question, right? So this is tricky. All of our shops are set with payments that are based on the value of the ask, right? So we have shops that are $10 and we have shops that are $100, and it's mostly centered around the ask for that assignment. There are opportunities to make more money depending on where you live. If you're in a rural area, typically we have higher paying mystery shops. So that does happen, but by and large, it's typically around shops that are a little bit more complex to complete. And then at some point, if you develop relationships and network with the iShopFor Ipsos team, there are some projects that we don't actually put on the mystery shopping boards that we offer to those individuals that do a lot of work for us and are really consistent. And so that's another way that you can kind of maybe expand your portfolio. Can I appeal an excluded shop? For sure. If you feel that it was excluded and it should not have been, you should definitely email us and let us work it out. We will review it. We will weigh all of the options and the possibilities, and we'll consider it, right? I want to be crystal clear that like we want to pay you. We definitely need to get the shops done. My team works really hard to get them all completed and completed on time. So we will do everything we can to pay you. However, if we review it and it still has to be rejected because you missed a critical piece that our client just won't take, we'll share that with you as well, right? So we're not always going to be able to overturn it, but if you believe that it was wrongly excluded, email us every single time. What's the difference between Sassie and Shopmetrics? So they both have different functionality. They're a little bit different in how you navigate them. But like I kind of mentioned in the beginning, the reason we have shops in different spaces is more to accommodate our clients and what they like to see on their side of Sassie and Shopmetrics. So around like the reports that they get and things like that. So for the most part, they navigate pretty close to each other when it comes to the user experience for a mystery shopper. But we do have a webinar around Shopmetrics that you may just want to just watch and just see what the differences are. But from a user experience for a mystery shopper, it's pretty small. I live in Las Vegas. How can I do mystery shops? So Nevada's a little bit different. It does require special PI licensing, and by PI I mean private investigator. Like, it's pretty official, but you need that in order to be a mystery shopper. There are research companies that specialize in mystery shopping in Nevada. Our preferred partner is a company called HS Brands. We use them for the majority of our work within that state. So if you're looking to do that and you'd like us to connect you with that team, reach out to us and we can help you get started. How secure is our social security number? So this information is encrypted in our Sassie space and is not visible to anyone at Ipsos. It is completely secure and only visible to you. How can I increase my shopper rating? Is it based on different shops? So you start out with a 5. Everybody starts out neutral, okay? Every shop you complete gets a rating. So the more you do correctly, the more you do on time, excuse me, it's kind of an average of everything you do. You can also have your shopper rating impacted by what's called a citation, and that can either be positive or negative, right? So if you come in clutch for us and on the last day of a month and go do a shop that we are about to miss, you might get a hero citation from one of the members of the iShopFor Ipsos team, and that can impact your shopper rating by increasing your average. On the opposite side of that, if you have a history of not completing your shops on time, or you reveal yourself at a mystery shop, or you're inappropriate in ways that you're communicating, there can be a negative citation on your account, and that can impact your shopper rating in a negative way. So there are a couple different ways that it can be impacted. The single greatest way to impact it in a positive way is to pick up work, to submit it on time, and to follow the instructions of your mystery shop. And that will greatly increase it to get you up to like that 8, 9, 10 range. So that was the end of the questions. I hope that this was helpful to you. I hope that you learned something and you feel a little bit more confident about navigating that space. If you do need to contact the iShopFor Ipsos team, on the screen right now is all of the different channels where you can reach us. So we do have that email address that I've mentioned a couple of times on this call. We also have live chat. When you go to iShopForIpsos.com, there is a live chat feature where you can reach us. We have a phone number that you can contact us Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern. And then we have several different social media platforms where you can contact us as well if you need us in a pinch. So that's Instagram, Facebook, and we also have a YouTube page. So be sure to follow us there so that you can kind of keep up to date on some of the things that we have going on, and then know that you have this available to you should you need to reach out to us. And with that, we've reached the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time and investing in your business and your partnership with iShopFor Ipsos.